All right, now, Dan always has interesting stories from his tailgates, and he didn't get to tell us about the game, but we talked about a whole lot. So, but always interesting. The guy goes to so many tailgates; it's crazy.
He's gotta have some good stories.
Yeah, but now it's time for one of our favorite segments with our good buddy. It's Hype Man Harry. Horns down, Harry.
Horns down, guys. How are you guys doing? Boomer Sooner.
Fantastic, man.
Boomer.
So, what did you think about last week's game? It really doesn't matter because it's Texas week, but we want to get your a little bit of a take on what happened last week.
I thought it was a really good, solid performance. We got on top of them early, and once we got on top of them early, it was kind of it. So that was really that's really all that needed to be said there. I think that it would have been huge to go ahead and get that 7 right away and not send Kyler right out there and for us to pick up the quote unquote muff punt. I think that's kind of a dumb rule. You work so hard and you go clock the guy down there, and then they're going to call. They're going to say, well, you can't do that.
You can't advance.
You can't just pick up the ball and advance it.
Yeah.
I think that's a dumb rule, but it is what it is. And we scored, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. What'd you think about the defensive performance? Good, bad, better?
I think that they did the best that they could with what they were dealt.
Yeah.
Now, like we talked about, their Brewer is a very, very good quarterback, and he had some good receivers. Mims that tore us up last year in Waco. The kid from the transfer from Tennessee, Hurd, some of the guys on the outside. So, and those are all good players, solid players. So for us to double them up is huge, and to hold them to basically 9 points in the first half.
Right.
That was huge.
Right, and then I've said it today on more than one occasion. The 33rd point was the game was no longer in question. I mean, it's one of I'm not saying that Oklahoma gave it up, but it really didn't matter. It was it was what it was.
Well, I mean, we'll get a little bit more into this as we look for, like we said, as we look forward to Texas. But I think the other Stoops had probably the greatest quote in the post game presser. I don't know if I heard it on the franchise, Eric or whatever, but that was great. He said, "Hey, if you guys want to keep on scoring, that's fine. What we're going to do is we're going to keep on blitzing.
Yeah,
we're going to keep on hitting your quarterback."
And which is something.
He couldn't have much more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
old boy did Caleb Kelly get him right?
Yeah.
He pretzels that dude.
Yeah.
The quarterback.
And it's something that our defense hasn't been able to do the last couple of years is blitz like what we've been blitzing, and it's been traditional, cross up linebacker, sending them from different angles, not safety blitzes, corner blitzes. It's been just good old, hard nose.
And that's what we wanted to see is just execution from the defense, something that makes us think that they know what they're doing, they're where they should be, they're covering who they should be. Those things are what we're looking for.
Right. So
I think that one of the guests, one of the many guests, and Fox Sports is really, I mean, speaking of blitzing, man, they are sending everybody out to get this thing hyped for the Red River Shootout. And one of the big ones that they're going to have on there is good old JR Jim Ross.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys are WWE guys or not. I sort of am. Grew up on it a little bit. And when Mick Foley comes down on the table, he just broke him in half.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that went through my mind when Charlie Brewer was halfway down. I'm like, holy cow, that guy just broke him in half.
It looked like it was
nasty.
They're lucky they didn't. They're lucky that they picked up the ball because that would have been our ball.
Yeah.
If we would, because he literally dropped the ball. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was huge.
Yeah. So, what are you looking for this weekend? First off, you're heading down to the game. Sorry, we didn't mean to make you nervous last week when we started talking about the.
No, you're good. You're good. I was just giving you a hard time.
Yeah,
you're all right.
The plane crash series coming out on Netflix, but
I'd rather ride the train.
Yeah. But what's your?
I would, but I probably would if I would get down there in time. And here's the thing: what really stinks and if you guys want to go ahead and get the preview going, we can with Texas, because this kind of leads into that. Is that offensively, the one thing to look out there is, like I said, it really stinks that this game isn't the 2:30 game, because nobody gives a rip about Indiana and the Ohio State University.
Right.
They don't know who's going to win that game, that second game on Fox. The one thing that hurts it is the player to watch out for offensively for the Texas Longhorns, who's really, really turned a switch since that one game that I'm trying to mention here in Maryland, and that is Sam Elling. I hit that hard G there, Tom Herman. That kid, I mean, he's playing lights out right now.
Yeah.
Now he's not playing to Kyler Murray's expectations, but you don't expect him to. You expect him to do what Texas does, and what Texas does is just kind of dinks and dunks it a little bit. Not anything like what Baylor used to do, but kind of like what Tulsa did a little bit the last couple of years, and probably not big time plays like Oklahoma wants, but maybe 10, 15 yards of play and kind of back off on the running game a little bit. And even he has been willing to get in there and run the ball in a little bit too, so that helps them do that. Defensively, one guy that I really think that Kyler's really going to have to look out for, and it's because of the way that I think that Hager, I think that those guys up front, I don't know if our running backs are ready for that. So what they're going to want to do is they'll probably want to get the ball out quickly to the playmakers that we know that can make plays. Hollywood Brown, those guys. So one guy to really look out for, guys, is Brandon Jones. Brandon Jones is number 19. He's a defensive back. He leads the team in catches. He's got an interception. He's got a forced fumble. He's a big time player out there in the backfield for Texas. So that's who to look out for the Shorthorns in Dallas.
Yeah. Well, now, do you agree that I think the key is, Rob and I have talked about it, for Oklahoma, is to rattle Ellinger, I guess.
Can we just call him Ellinger?
Ellinger.
I think
or just,
I like that better.
Let's just call him Ellen.
That is that is my. I mean, you kind of overstepped me a little bit, because that is, like, as far as defensively is concerned, that is my main key to the defense for Mike Stoops.
Right.
He did that a lot last week. Now, given that a lot of it was when the game was completely out of hand and 26 to 66. Let's go ahead and say that.
All right.
Instead of 33, because it was kind of sort of a late touchdown, like you said. But it's because, we sent the guys out. We sent them. Caleb Kelly got a big time sack. Those guys were all playing well. Now, one guy to look out for, with that being said, is now that he's starting to play like it a little bit, now he's got to make some 5-star plays, because Bolton, Buzzy, not only did he run into the wall on the quote-unquote muff punt, but I don't know if you guys noticed this, but about the second or third quarter, Dusty Dvorak, former Sooner, made a great point in saying that, where's Buzzy? Where's Bolton? He got hurt there in the first half and played sparingly in the second half, if even at all. So that's that. And then offensively for Oklahoma, real quick, guys, before we get too deep into this, is I think, and here's the thing, Hager is a good defensive tackle. So what we have to do is we have to get into their front line. So it's all about the big hog nollies for us, the big guys, the offensive linemen. And with that being said, also in that is Sutton, Pledger, and Kennedy Brooks. Now, you'll notice the one guy in there that I didn't mention is the superstar that's already a superstar on this team. And that's because, and he just, and I love him to death, and he's a good-looking player, guys, but he's not a home run guy. He doesn't have, he's a home run guy, but he doesn't have speed like DeMarco would have had, who's also going to be at the game, by the way.
Yeah.
Or like Quentin Griffin. These other guys have a little bit of speed like that, so if you get them downfield, you get them running kind of hard down there. I mean, you saw it with Kennedy Brooks, what happened last week.
Right.
They were late. In fact, he ended up being a 100-yard rusher last week. I don't know if y'all know that.
Yeah.
He only had like 8 carries. And the defense for Baylor was probably tired, but still, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, but, Sermon's big play came on the swing pass, and which is really, I've said it all along. Those little swing passes like that and those wide receiver screens, yeah, they count as passes, but those are running plays. And that big play that Sermon had where on that swing pass where he got, face mask there at the end, and ended up scoring anyway, that was a big play. If you throw that underhanded and make the ball go end over end, that's an option pitch. You know what I mean? And so it's the same thing as a running play. It just gets counted in the passing, in the passing deals. I think that Sermon, as big as he is more comfortable getting onto the edge and then turning it back. But what I do like about him in the middle is he's not afraid to put his helmet down and put a shoulder pad in you and try to run you over.
Well, you guys saw that in our end zone 2 games ago, not last game, 2 games ago, and if he just punches it in there just a little bit more, just gets a little bit deeper, a little bit more physical down to the pipes, I mean that's a touchdown. And then we're not talking about this right now. We're not even talking about Oklahoma going into overtime. Now it's still a close game, and then Seibert, where's Seibert's mind at right now?
Right.
But the point is, he didn't get that 1 yard. He didn't get that extra push, and so we had to go win it in overtime. And the most important part is we did.
Right.
We did win it in overtime.
Right. And that's in the end all that matters to me. So,
me too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But so what's your score prediction? We've told everybody they don't have to tonight. They don't have to pick an exact score because it's a rivalry game. So if you want to pick a about number and an about number, or I call it ish, 35-ish to 21-ish or 35-ish to 34-ish, or if you want to pick an exact score, you can.
I think that we can hang half 100 on them, and I think that if we hold them to half of that, which is 24 to 25 points, that is what is that? 7. That's a touchdown a quarter for Ellinger with the hard G again.
Right.
I think that's okay.
Yeah.
That's just me. So you hold them to 24 points, you're doing 21 to 24 points. You're doing all right.
Yeah.
And before we do anything else, guys, I don't know if y'all have done this or not, but since this thing's in 2 parts, maybe this might be coming out on Friday.
Right.
Which means that happy birthday, Coach Barry Switzer.
Oh.
81 now, right?
Wow.
Jeez.
He's going to be 81 on Friday.
See, I did not know his birthday was around OU, Texas. So, see, I learned something today.
I hope it is because I just said it on your bill, and I saw it on Wikipedia. So I'm taking a big leap of faith here.
I'm sure he's listening. So
so, but So I mean, it's going to be a fun game. It always is a fun game. Unless we lose. But I just don't think there's much of a chance of Oklahoma losing this game.
Right.
I mean, there's always a chance. I think there's more of a chance of Oklahoma winning it in a tight game than there is Oklahoma losing it in a tight game. I definitely don't think they're going to blow us out. Our offense is so much better than everybody else's offense in the country. I know we're only ranked 12th right now, but for sure better than anyone that they've seen so far. And if you saw Tom Herman's press conference, you could see it's when they say what's the difference between this and the offense with Baker Mayfield, and he said, different number at quarterback. That's it. Everything else is high powered. I mean, and then you throw Kyler in there. It's even, in my opinion, it's more high powered than it was with Baker. So,
right. October 5th, 1937, guys. Very Switzer. So I'm right. It is Friday.
81 years old, man.
1937.
Love that guy. Holy cow.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So what are your plans for Dallas? When are you getting in there Friday?
I'm actually I've got some stuff to take care of tomorrow and the next day, so I'm going to take care of that, and then Saturday 6:30 I believe is my flight. So what's that? About 7:30 to 7:45 I'll be in Love Field, and then I'll drop my stuff off at the. I got a group that is actually staying at a hotel, and I'm actually going to keep my stuff in one of their rooms.
Yeah.
And then probably what I'll do is after the game is over or something like that, I'll call the hotel and make sure that they still have my room.
Yeah.
And at least confirm it, and then after that, I mean, I'll just have fun at the fair. Because win or lose, you got to get your corny dog.
Yeah.
You got to get you a fried Oreo or something like that. Just enjoy the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Because I'll say this, and I don't know about you guys, but it's supposed to be kind of. I'm not going to say it's supposed to be nasty. It's supposed to be a little rainy this weekend.
Right.
So, and you guys know how I feel about the Cowboys. That is the only reason why I think that this thing should ever be moved to Cowboy Stadium is just because of that.
Yeah.
I think the atmosphere is great. I think that what adds to it a little bit is the state fair. It's awesome.
Right. Yeah, there's no game in the world like it, whether football, baseball, soccer, basketball, professional, little league. It is one of the, in my opinion, it is one of the grandest sporting events out there.
And the fair has a lot to do with it.
And the fair has a lot to do with it.
Absolutely.
I mean,
you take it away from there, it's just another rivalry game.
Yeah. You could play it at, unless they move the state fair to Jerry's World, but I'm
saying never.
Never say never.
Don't put that against him. He's got some money there.
Yeah, well, see, and I've held this in continue. I went to the draft this year, and it was at Jerry's World.
And you know what? You know what, guys? Sorry to interrupt you there, Robbie, guys. But also, if you really think about it, my Rangers, that they're getting a new stadium built.
Right.
If they knock the old one down completely, and they stick all the festivities and all the good stuff there.
Yeah, but
no, it's not going to happen. They're not going to move the state fair.
No, I'm not saying.
60-something years.
Here's what I am saying though. Okay, is hear me out on this. They had the NFL draft at Jerry's World. Okay, the NFL draft outside of that stadium was basically a state fair atmosphere. Okay. There were
outside.
Yeah, there were football events, kicking, passing, all this stuff, food, food tents galore, beer tents, concert venue, just everything outside there. And all I could think of is Jerry may not be able to get the Texas State Fair there, but I think he was testing it that if he could get a decent size fair there, you see what I'm saying? Have a Jerry's World Fair for the week of that game to where you have that same type of atmosphere. You have one of the parking lots or two of the parking lots basically is what the NFL draft was, packed with games, rides, beer, food. It's a mini state fair.
And then you know what?
And he could move it there. And
and it doesn't even have to be. And here's the thing: it doesn't even have to be that. I mean, you think about Texas A&M on Arkansas. He's an Arkansas guy. They've moved that stadium there. They've moved that game there. I guess it's permanent now, guys.
Yeah.
It's huge and it's nice, and so there's that. But back to our rivalry, guys. I got a couple more things for you, real quick.
Okay.
Now Shane Beamer, Frank Beamer, those guys. Now Frank was actually in Norman Saturday. I don't know if you guys know that.
Yeah.
He was there Saturday because last Saturday because this Saturday is his statue is going to be.
They're putting a statue up.
They're putting a statue up for him.
Right.
Now his son, of course, is going to be in Dallas. And one day, a couple of years back, they had a bye week for Virginia Tech, and he says to his wife, that bye week is the same as OU Texas. Let's go to OU Texas. And the wife's like, well, I would go, but only if you're coaching. So since you're not coaching, let's just take it off and make that be that. That's a Division I coach,
right?
That has been around the country. His dad's probably one of the most well-known coaches in all of college football, and he says, "I want to go to, not to any game. I want to go to this game.
Right.
I want to go to this game." And that's just as a fan's perspective. Now, as a player's perspective and a coaching perspective, I don't know if you guys saw this, But this is hilarious. One of my media friends, Jake Trotter, wrote a story for ESPN earlier. Did y'all see this?
Is this the Leach story?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mike
we
Leach
talked about that earlier where he dropped
he left a play chart in the middle of the field in 1999 when Oklahoma. And if you remember that game, we run 17-0.
Right.
So they were probably going through there saying, "Well, they're going to run this play, and they're going to run this play, and they're going to run. Well, what's this?
Right.
What's that?" So, and obviously, about the second quarter, they threw it all out the window, and then Applewhite comes in and just has the game of his life.
Right.
And we end up losing that ball game, but
yeah,
that's
vintage.
I think
Mike.
that Matt Brown, vintage Mike Leach, yeah,
yeah,
and
vintage.
I think that Matt Brown, who was also on the staff as our offensive coordinator way back in the day in '88 or '85, '84, that era, he even said it the best. He says, "Well, that's just what Mike Leach would do. That is so Mike Leach."
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah,
it's.
And he did it on a whim and didn't tell anybody but Kel Gundy about it. So. And
right.
kept it quiet.
And Kel was actually the one at the press conference. I wonder if Jake would have gotten that story out maybe over the weekend, and we would have known that that Link was going to be sick. I wonder if someone would have asked him that question.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, now it would have to be somebody like Eddie Radosevich or somebody like that. Somebody that's out there that I'm not going to say they don't care about their job, but somebody that is just kind of. Somebody that doesn't care about their job. They don't care about what happened.
Right.
They don't care what other media people think of them. They just want to do their job.
Right. But, well, hey, man, Harry, we've been doing this thing all week where we've been calling fans and letting them put out some Texas hate, and we got people waiting on us to call them. So we're going to jump off here now and start calling a few people and let them fans get their little piece set out there.
And rant
and rave, which is the best part about this week. So have a safe trip down there, buddy. Okay, have a good time.
All righty, guys, I will.
All right, horns down, Harry.
Horns down, guys.
Hype man Harry. Always love hearing his take on the game.
And I'm jelly because I don't get to go. And it's such a good environment down there.
Yeah.
Just always have fun when I go. Just hanging out with Sooner fans and being in the atmosphere of the state fair. It's just
there's nothing else like it.
Nothing like it. Of course, in my I don't know if it defenses it right, but I've never been to what are the other big ones? Michigan, Ohio State, and Georgia,
right?
Whatever they call the big drink or whatever.
Right.
I've never been down to those, so I don't really know, but I can't imagine them comparing to this.
Yeah, and anybody that I've heard talk about that has been to all of them say that there's nothing else like. And I think you were right a while ago. It's the fair adds to the festivities of that thing. Because,
absolutely, it does.
Because there's not tailgates, there's fair. People, and I've been there. The game's at 11 o'clock. People are at the damn fair at 6 o'clock in the morning, drinking beer and eating corn dogs.
Well, I mean, the big Ferris wheel thing out there, you know, it's just kind of cool.
Yeah. And there's just, and there's really not a lot of pageantry in what they do. You know what I mean? They let both bands play, they split this, the splitting of the stadium up is about all the pageantry that they do. It's not a bunch of pomp and circumstance. It's, we're got a fair. We're going to come down here. We're going to play a football game, and then we're going to go home.
Yeah.
But I still think it's interesting that both, Fox and ESPN are loading up on this game. I was shocked when ESPN.
Yeah, I was too.
Took this as the game of the week, especially since they knew it's a Fox game, and Fox was going to, Fox announced way before then that their game day crew is going to be at OU, Texas.
Well, really, though, there's not any other good games going on at that time slot.
Right.
So, I mean, OU, Texas is always a good game. It's just like we were saying, it's a, no matter who's ranked and who's not, it's always a good game.
Right. It's always a game, and it's always a game. Highly ranked teams, it's always more interesting. It's more hype, but it's never a game that.
But like we were talking about earlier, Kyler Murray is one of two guys, I think, in the Heisman race right now. I mean, I don't know who else you'd put in there. I'm sure somebody could, put a message on our Facebook or our
the
Twitters.
West Virginia quarterback is still
Will
Greer. Yeah.
So maybe it's a 3-man race, but
No.
They're going to take the opportunity to go see somebody like Kyler in person, I think.
Right.
So, and this is probably the best game to do that as, since Oklahoma State lost to whoever they lost, Tech or whoever.
Tech. Wasn't it?
So if they had kept winning, that might have been a bedlam, a game day game. But since they lost, and it looks like they're probably going to lose a lot more games. Or at least
I'm trying to figure out what's going to go on for the Virginia Tech game on the Friday after. Oh, not Virginia Tech, West Virginia game on the Friday after Thanksgiving, because that can end up being maybe the game of the year.
It could be
all the way across the board,
especially for the Big 12.
Yeah,
if we win Saturday and we win out, that's going to be a big game.
Yeah, they win out. It's going to be, and what really sucks about it is whoever wins that game's got to turn around and win it again.
Yeah, but I think that's the way it's going to be, because I don't see, and I haven't really seen them a lot, but I don't see anybody really beating West Virginia.
No.
Unless it's TCU really humps up and plays good defense. But I think West Virginia probably walks, and I think hopefully we do too.
Yeah.
So it looks like we'll be playing them back to back, which is not going to help either one of us, by the way.
But still, that the Big 12s, I get why they're doing it, but they should set a precedence on it that if you outright win the head-to-heads, you're the only undefeated team, you shouldn't have to play another game.
Yeah.
Okay. If you and Team A, if West Virginia beat Oklahoma and Oklahoma was beat by, Kansas State, they should maybe then play it again, play it. But you're just putting stress on your conference by making it, and the scheduling of it. If we played West Virginia in 2 weeks, it wouldn't be that big a deal if we had to play them again. The deal is going to be turning right back. Or what's the interest going to be in that?
Well, you're right. And let's just say at the end of the year when we play West Virginia, we're both undefeated. We're both ranked, really high.
Yeah, 4 and 5, 3 and 4,
and we go in there and just put a smoking on them. Who's going to be hyped up to watch that same game the next week?
Right.
Nobody.
Nobody wants to see it. But it is what it is. I'd much rather have a championship game where you don't play the team that you play in the championship, but it's what we got right now. But
it's this hideous conference that we're in.
But still, you do have to admit, when we were talking on the podcast the other night, you weren't able to be here with the Texas podcaster. Regardless of whether it's this year or in 3 years, at some point, Oklahoma and Texas are going to play in the Big 12 championship game. You know what I mean? And will that not be epic?
It will, but they're going to have to come back a little further than they are.
But
course, who knows? They may give us a whipping on Saturday. I don't know.
But what I'm saying is that, could you imagine, back in the 90s with, the Colt McCoy and the Bradford games, if they would have had to play for the Big 12 championship, how big of a deal that would be.
That would have been a good one.
It would have been nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, but there's still a lot of season to go, but it's key. This game, I think, is key for Oklahoma to make a statement in, and I think they want to. I think the players want to, because they've been dissed the last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You win your game, you beat Army, you drop. You put a whooping on Baylor, okay, and it was a whooping. It was a thumping, okay.
Because I think we could have ran it up a little bit.
And you dropped, okay. So I don't mind that, because you and I have talked about it before. You and I are a lot like it'll work itself out. I mean, other teams are going to beat other teams.
Well, and I think a coach can use that to his advantage.
Right.
Look, we're putting whippings on people, and we're still not getting any respect.
Right.
We got it. It's us against the world.
Right.
Kind of a deal. So.
And, And that matters. People say it doesn't. People, yeah, it does matter. You don't read the newspaper clippings, but they walk past the, or they on their phones after lunch on Sundays after the game and go, we were 5th, and 2 weeks ago now we're 7th, and we're 5. What? So.
Well, I don't mean this in any crack against the players, but those players understand that they are playing for what's after this.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they are. You go from, and I don't even care if your family's, in middle of the pack, middle of the road family, going from that to what did Kyler just sign for $5 million?
Right.
So those kids, there's no way they're not thinking, every game with that in mind.
Right.
So, I don't know. It might be hard to get up individually for a game. It might not mean that much to them, but how they perform does. So,
right. Well, and like I said, I don't think this, the Army game, everybody wants to, not to harp back on the defense, but everybody wants to throw that on the defense. The defense. The defense didn't play well, but I'm still going to contend that the offense didn't either, because there's no way that Army should have stopped our offense 4 times, and they did.
Yeah.
And even, like I said, Lincoln Riley said it. If we go down and Kyler throws that pick, if we go down and score, it's a completely different game. Army's no longer trying to get 3 yards of play. They're trying to get
yeah.
If
you want to win the game.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure they did.
They wanted to keep it close as long as they could.
They absolutely executed their game plan to a T.
Right.
And there's nothing we could do to get them out of it.
Right. And Lincoln said what we had to do as an offense was to get 2 scores up, and they couldn't do that. They get 2 scores up, Army's completely out of their game plan. They can't do that they conduct. They're going to have to throw the ball. They're going to have to play catch up. And but I think that was a game as a whole that maybe Oklahoma was in that deal. I'm going to roll my helmet out on the field, and it says OU on it.
Maybe.
You don't do that with guys who are trained to kill people. Okay, so. There's not a lot impresses those guys.
So if you're gonna be that kind of person, listen, we're Oklahoma. We're just gonna put our helmets down here, and you're gonna go away. You need to be able to go out and back that up,
right?
Because you don't get that way without having backed it up,
right?
So going out and muscling up on people, I mean, they got to start doing it.
Yeah. Well, but did you see the little Joel Klatt Fox deal that he did about the Army Oklahoma game?
I did not.
He made a great point that I think fans should listen to. Oklahoma fans should listen to, and really any fan. He said, Army doesn't get the military academies don't get these type of games every year.
Right.
Okay. Navy, I think, plays Notre Dame every. I don't know. I mean, but he said these guys for Army. Or, walk in to Oklahoma. And that's kind of how he put it, Oklahoma. Okay.
Well, we're one of, 4 or 5 blue bloods.
Right.
So.
He said, in a stadium twice as big as anything they've ever been in. They're going to be a bowl team this year, and they're going to go play in probably the Armed Forces Bowl, in front of 30,000 people.
Yeah.
They're playing
90.
They're playing in front of 90,000 people in one of the, and he put it, the most beautiful venues in the country.
Palace on the Prairie, baby.
Yeah, and stacks of people, and he goes, this is their national championship game.
Could have been. Absolutely.
This is, we come in here and upset these guys. This is the biggest win of our career. And that's how they played. And hats off to them.
Nothing but respect.
Yeah. And, people, and I hate the fact that, people go, well, they wouldn't have done that to Alabama, or they wouldn't have done it to Clemson. You don't know that.
You don't know it.
You don't know it.
They almost come in and cut down the giant.
Right. And, Teddy Lehman said it best. It's hard to stop somebody whose plan is to get 3 yards. Like I said, you're 3 yards tall. So you got to get to the line of scrimmage and fall forward, for crying out loud. Okay? Just make sure you fall forward.
Right.
So, it is what it is. But I think this team gets better and better every week. And that's what I've liked about the Lincoln Riley, even when he was the offensive coordinator 2 years ago, is you see that team turn a corner.
Yeah, you don't want to hit your stride too soon.
Right. And they're turning that corner, and they just get better every week. They did it last year. The side of the ball that didn't get better last year was the defense.
Yeah.
The defense just kept letting people score with us. The defense isn't letting people score with us anymore.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. I mean, they haven't so far this year. And fans can go, you call me crazy, whatever else, people on Twitter. The bottom line is Baylor is better this year than they were last year, and Baylor matched us score for score, yard for yard last year.
Last year, they had a chance of beating us.
Oklahoma State had a chance to beat us. Kansas State had a chance to beat us. Iowa State did beat us. Okay? The difference is they're getting those stops now. They're not letting people score. So this defense continues to improve and get better.
I think it's getting better. I really do. And I think at the end of the year, we're going to see it just ranked a lot higher in a lot of categories. And, if the special teams comes along with them, which we haven't talked a whole lot about the special teams, they're playing
they're playing lights out.
Yeah, yeah.
As Lincoln puts it, all three sides of the ball. That confuses me.
Offense, defense, special teams.
Yeah, but I mean,
a ball doesn't have sides.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. No, I get it. But
it was like all three sides of the ball, and I was like, if anything, it has a top and bottom.
Well, a lot of that's coach speak. But the fact of it is, if we are better defensively, and if special teams continues to do well, this team is better than last year's team.
Right.
And last year's team went to the playoffs and should have beat Georgia.
Right.
And would have demolished Alabama.
Yeah. And I think has every chance to, right now, all indications are this team is better than last year's team.
I think so.
And hate speak for hate speak, whatever you want. I think Kyler is going to end the season a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield.
That's a bold statement, Cotton.
Well, just keep looking. I mean, where is he lacking?
Yeah.
Where is he lacking? His numbers are the same. His efficiency ratings are through the roof every week. And you throw in the fact he's going to rush for 100 yards.
Oh yeah,
possibly.
That's a nice little addition.
There you go.
Because that safety's got to creep up, corners got to keep their eyes in the backfield.
Right.
Those are all good things for us. So what we got to stay away from is that one game that Caleb keeps talking about that we always lose, that we shouldn't. Right. As long as we don't have that game, we're gonna play for a national title. We just are.
And I think this week is when Lincoln pulls the stops out on this offense.
Yeah, all stops are gone here.
Yeah, I think from this point on,
offensively and defensively,
right.
Anything they've been trying to hide, covers are off.
Because I'm telling you, there is if you watch this team and you play stuff back slow motion, and Jay put it on there. On his Jason put it on his blah blah. Can't think of it.
Football Brainiacs.
Trench warfare. Yeah. That play, that fourth down play that Harry was talking about against Army, that was a triple option.
Yeah, and Kyler misread
it and he said you can tell it's a triple option because Hollywood was looking back at Kyler. Okay. Because he was coming in, he came in front. It was that fake, which would that make it a quadruple option? Because he faked handed to Hollywood, read and gave it to Sermon. If he would have kept it, he could either kept it around the end, but Hollywood had slowed up and kind of made it a rounded run. You're going to see an option pitch to that guy. If you give that man the ball on the edge. I think I'm
going to be okay with it.
If you give Hollywood the ball on the edge and he's got a safety and a corner to beat, that is going to be, like you said, he'll be running faster than the wind.
Well, yeah, he can outrun the wind, so I'm looking forward to that. The giving him there, on that option. Just give it to him. There's no defensive end going to touch him.
Right.
Give it to him. Let him run. Especially if it's what's called a tray option or something like that, where all the defense is going left and then he comes back to the right.
Right.
that's going to be for a guy with that kind of speed. Man, that's big play.
And let that defensive end step up to into Kyler's face and let him pitch it out there to Hollywood and watch what happens.
Oh, man. So that could be – I mean, I don't know how much they're going to do that, Terry, and it doesn't look like it's going to be much. But that could be a home run threat.
Right.
Because really, although Trey Sermon is a great back, he's not a home run threat.
Yeah.
He's just not.
Right.
And neither it doesn't appear – well, I don't know. Kennedy Brooks had a pretty nice little run. But I don't – no one is really in the backfield stepping up to be that. You know, this guy could take to the house just any second. Hollywood Brown is that.
Right.
If he gets his hands on the ball, magical things can happen.
Right.
So –
and I think this is, Lincoln's way, that little option stuff. And I think you're going to see it because he's hinted on it last year. He's hinted on it a couple of times this year. When you've got the option to either take Kyler Murray and let Hollywood get a pitch or cover the pitch and let Kyler Murray get around the edge.
So
two of the fastest guys in the country.
Yeah, at any given time they could be the two fastest guys on the football field. Yeah. I mean, literally,
or in the state at that point in time.
Yeah. So I'm liking our odds in that play.
Yeah.
So I really want to see it.
Yeah, and I like the fact that Kyler's thrown some bombs, to Calcaterra in this last game, but I love the fact that these little dink and dunk plays are getting blocked and screens. The big, you weren't there when they were talking about last night when they were talking about the screen to Hollywood on the left side, the one he caught in the flare out there, not the cross screen. CD Lamb just whooping up on the corner out there, 30 yards down the field.
Nice.
Okay,
that's how you win championships.
Yeah, when he went out on his route, the guy covered him. When he sees Hollywood break, he turns around and just starts driving that kid. And that's what I like to see is that these dink and dunk designed passing plays that are meant to get rushing yards are turning into big plays time after time after time. And I don't see anybody stopping that.
No, good luck trying to stop that.
Yeah, we said it at the beginning of the year. This offense has the weapons to be just as good, and it looks like they're going to be better than what they were last year.
And just look at next year. I mean, we've already signed 2 5-star wide receivers and possibly a third.
Right.
I mean, it could get ugly for the rest.
And then
of the
all
nation.
the 4 and a 5-star tight end.
And the defense is going to be so much better.
Yeah, the defense is just going to be.
I know we're going to lose some guys, but man.
But we got 4 and 5 stars coming in. I mean.
So, long story short, Oklahoma fans, we're going to be really, really good for a few years to come.
And I think you and I talked about it. I think our statement is true. If you're going to beat Oklahoma, you damn well better do it this year.
Yeah, that's a little easier said than done, I think.
Because I think the next 4 and 5 years, you're looking at an Alabama-esque run at national titles.
So, what's funny, though, Terry, I want to look back on, is you remember when we were talking to the guys from Florida Atlantic,
right.
And they said, well, Rob, what's your score? And I said, 63 to whatever, I don't know. What did I say?
It was something like that.
They're like,
you think it's going to be that bad? Oh, my gosh.
So either one, you think you're better than you are, or you don't think we're as good as we are. And we have, I think, proved, I know we had a close game there at Iowa State and a close game against Army, but I think overall we can show market improvement from the defense last year, and the offense is at least as good. Now, we're not as good in the backfield. But we would be had Anderson not been hurt.
But again, Anderson didn't step up until the 6th game last year.
I know.
Who knows what happens this weekend or next week? Maybe Kennedy Brooks. Kennedy Brooks all of a sudden breaks out in the 4th quarter last year. Who knows? If I remember right, he's a 4 or 5 star running back, and they've got a 4 and 5 star running back coming in next year.
And TJ Pleasures is a 4-star guy, I think.
Yeah. So,
so we need these guys to if our backfield was as magical as everything else going on around it.
Right.
Man.
Yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, folks.
Anyway.
Thanks for listening. Hey, I know these have been long ones this week. We were going to call some more people tonight, but it's just started going long, and
you ain't doing nothing anyway.
Yeah, you ain't doing nothing anyway. So it's a huge week. It's our, this is the adult version of Christmas. Remember when Christmas used to be so fun when you were a kid?
This is Hate Texas Week.
Yeah, now you can't stand Christmas because all you're doing is throwing money out. Now it's Texas Week, and it's like Christmas.
Yep.
So everybody be safe on your trip down there. You can't go down there and go, I'm just glad to go down there to drink real beer, because we got real beer in Oklahoma now. So
just know, everyone that's going, Terry and I are jelly.
Yeah. So
because we don't get to go.
Yeah. Nobody called us and said, hey, come down with us. We'll be more than happy. We got an extra 2 tickets. And
well, I did win train tickets.
Yeah, Rob won train tickets. Tried to give them away too. Nobody would take them.
Yeah.
See, the problem is next year we'll decide to go next year, and you won't win the train tickets
Probably
next
right.
year. But I think I want to do that next year. I think I want to do the train trip.
Yeah, it could be fun.
I think it'd be fun.
Yeah,
go down there.
It's not too late this year.
Yeah, it is. It is for me. Maybe not you single guys, but for us.
So that's a good thing, is I can just pick up and go whenever, wherever.
Yeah,
I like it.
Us married,
a lot.
Us married folks got to go. Honey, are you okay with us doing this?
What do you think about?
Yeah. So, but anyway, that's it. We will be talking to you guys. It'll be a short schedule next week because it's an off week. We'll probably just do one. I think we're still going to get James Hell on next Wednesday. And so we'll do a post-game one, and then probably just James Hell next week, and get ready for the TCU game. But
James Hell's like my favorite guy on the radio.
Yeah. So I hope his schedule's still clear. I should have sent him a message today, but I told him during the off week because we had people scheduled throughout the thing, and so he said not a problem. So anyway, there you go again. I'm starting to say
one too many coaches shows, Terry.
One too many. So everybody, again, have a good time. Boomer Sooner. Horns down, Rob.
Horns down, Terry.
Thanks for listening to the Sooner Football Fans Podcast. Hit the subscribe button right now on whatever app you're listening to download every episode as they come out. Check us out on Twitter and Facebook and on YouTube. Boomer Sooner.